Hi, everyone. Kathy Rose here. I'm going to talk to you about the astrological patterns for November 2023. We are in Scorpio season, and the mandala on screen reflects the intensity and the passion and the emotional energy of Scorpio. Not only is the sun in Scorpio, but we also have Mars traveling in that sign, which echoes, reinforces, and just makes the energy much, much louder and more intense. So we have a lot to deal with. That started in October 7th. We had a powerful aspect that took place, and unfortunately, it triggered a war. Move forward then with 2 eclipses in October, and there is spiky, pointy intensity all around us. So we're going to have to do something with that in November with these planets. So let's talk about the themes that are going on for November. And obviously, one of the themes is going to be focusing on how to resolve conflict. Not only conflict in the world between nations, but conflict in our own personal lives, with friends or coworkers or colleagues, because people are highly polarized right now. Passion and intensity emotionally is all around us. And one of the themes coming forward for this month is pondering that and learning some skills and how to resolve it. And of course, part of that is going to be also searching for the path to peace. Those of you listening to this video are very peace-oriented and high consciousness. So you're certainly going to be engaged in that. The image on screen is a pathway that I happen to love here in Virginia Beach. It's a state park that is my favorite. And I will often go walking on these nature trails and tap into the natural energy of peace that exists in nature and try to infuse myself with it. Another theme for November is the very important step to consciously activate the indomitable spirit within. It's necessary. And the indomitable spirit is linked with not being conquered or subdued. So tap into that. That's important to bring about in November. So let's begin. And I want to talk about first this energy of unwinding strong retrogrades that we've had going on with the outer planets. All the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, we're starting into a retrograde phase in September. On October 10th, Pluto ended the retrograde and went into direct motion. And that was right in the middle of an intense period between the 2 eclipses. November 4th, we're going to have Saturn ending the retrograde and going into direct motion. December 5th, Neptune ends the retrograde. December 30th, Jupiter ends the retrograde. January 27th, Uranus ends the retrograde. So each planet is ending that retrograde period just about a month apart from each other, just about. And we're going to have this gradual activation of things starting to move forward again. So let me explain by first looking at the new moon in Scorpio. Normally in the forecast videos, I don't talk much about the new moon. I do a separate video for that, but I need to talk about it now, early in the month, so you are prepared. The new moon in Scorpio on November 13th continues the intensity that started in October. What we have going on, if you look at the chart on screen and you look at that big red line, which is an opposition between the planet Uranus at 21 Taurus and the Sun, Moon, and Mars. This is powerful. This is intensity. This is developmental tension happening in the world. On a personal level, you may be feeling a very strong desire to feel free of emotional intensity, to be able to calm your spirit, to be able to relax on command, to be in charge of your own mindset, to be in charge of your own emotions, which is freedom. I mean, basically, we are in emotional prison if our emotions have control over us. If we feel we have no choice but to react in a certain way. So this new moon in Scorpio is pointing the energy to say, learn the skills and the techniques to calm yourself when you need to calm yourself, to elevate your consciousness when you need to take action when you need to, but not to be a victim of your own emotional patterns. And, that is a challenge. I'll be the first to admit that. With things happening right now that are triggering many people on very deep levels, it is a challenge. But again, that's indomitable spirit being activated. This new moon in Scorpio involving Uranus and Mars suggests that there will still be intense energy in the background, that spiky, pointy energy happening. And I'm not going to issue dire warnings or dire predictions. I don't want to go there. I mean, look at the sweatshirt I'm wearing. Let me show you. It says good vibes, and it's one of my favorite sweatshirts. And when I want to remind myself to focus positively, to elevate, to not get spiraled into the intensity of the day, I wear this sweatshirt. And when I wear it out in public, I get a lot of smiles from people because it's also reminding them. So this new moon in Scorpio, what do you do with it? Well, you remind yourself that you are powerful and you breathe. Absolutely. Be mindful of your breathing every moment of every day. You choose how much news you're going to listen to or read, and you act with integrity. We can't control what's happening in the world. All we can do is register our own high consciousness in our own behavior. But the image that's on the right is a stack of rocks that I have in my office, with a spiral on top, which I think is quite symbolic. But the energy here that I wanted to emphasize is that we do have planetary energy stacked up, just, it's layers and layers of intensity. So join into this passionate, deep, profound energy to engage in as much inner power as you can, and to remember you are indomitable. And there's a Navy jet getting ready to fly over. The intensity of living close to Oceana Naval Airfield and the F-14, F-18 Hornets that fly over, that have been flying over with intensity all through the month of October and now into November. So if you hear a rumble, that's what's going on. So this new moon in Scorpio, take time to connect with your inner power. Of course, you can do that anytime, all the time. That's a theme that should be daily. But particularly, I want to be careful how I say this. I don't want to program fear. I don't want to program intensity. But the message in this chart is pretty volatile. And all we can do is learn how to engage in our own skill set for modifying our behavior. Now, this chart, by the way, is set for Washington, D.C. And so I find it fascinating that in this chart, we have Pluto conjunct the fourth house. If you look at my cursor, it's right down here at the bottom of the chart. And so Pluto being angular in the fourth house conjunct the IC, as it's called, suggests the U.S. will be involved intensely in what's going on, or at least we will palpably be feeling it. So, I am absolutely dedicated to monitoring my own emotional levels and taking them to a higher level. By the way, I don't know if you know that Scorpio has more symbols than any other sign in the zodiac. The lowest level of Scorpio is the scorpion, who sometimes stings for the sake of stinging. And then if we elevate a bit above, we can go up to the eagle, which can fly high and soar above. So the higher level is the eagle. If we go up above that, then we have the dove, which flies with grace above the emotional realm. That's the highest level of Scorpio. Oh, I forgot, in the middle of that, we also have the phoenix. So we actually have the scorpion, then the phoenix. The phoenix is the mythological bird phoenix, builds a pyre and then burns itself and then is reborn from the ashes. So that's the second symbol of Scorpio. The third is the eagle. The fourth is the dove. So be an eagle, rise above the emotions, be a dove, elevate with grace. That's all I have to say. This is a powerful new moon. By the way, November 18th, we are going to have the sun moving forward to conjunct the planet Mars. So basically the first 2 or 3 weeks of November, Scorpio season, Mars energy is powerful. It's just extremely powerful. In fact, on November 18th, when the sun and Mars are conjunct, we're also going to have Moon Pluto conjunct that day. Let's hope there's a collective shift for lovingness and resolution and resolving conflict. But be mindful, be careful, be aware, and focus on lovingness. The mandala is a mandala I created a long time ago, and I remember feeling it. I remember feeling feminine goddess energy with transformation, with that indomitable spirit. So to me, when I created this mandala, which was one of my more simple ones years ago, but it reminds me of the energy pattern we have going on in November. Stand tall, be strong, believe in yourself, and like I said, engage the indomitable spirit within. We move forward in November, and there's going to be a full moon in Gemini just after Thanksgiving. So November 27th, the energy shifts dramatically from the emotional intensity that Scorpio brings to a different level, which is the Sagittarian energy, which is action orientated and very much focused on opinion. As my teacher, Noel Till, used to say, he used to make up words, and he said, Sagittarius is filled with opinionation. But he got the point across because that is a Sagittarian energy. The desire to have one's opinions respected. During this full moon in Gemini, the sun will be conjunct Mars. Mars will be applying to the conjunction of the sun. So that opinionated energy, the need to express your viewpoint, will be very, very strong. Moderation is recommended. I mean, certainly you have to say what's on your mind. You need to be able to speak up. You need to be able to share your opinion. But remember, with that Mars energy so strong right now and just everything going on, breathe before you speak. The moon in Gemini, which is opposite the sun and the Mars. Moon in Gemini is the communication need, the need to share ideas. Let's hope that in this full moon, we are actually getting countries talking to each other, politicians talking to each other, world leaders, and also people in our lives, that we're communicating with a little bit more objectivity instead of so laced with emotion. Although during this full moon, it is square Saturn in Pisces. And Saturn in Pisces, which will be direct at that time, the retrograde will be ended, is still going to have some emphasis on the victim, of people who are victimized. And so sensitivity will still be strong through the lens of Saturn. But the full moon in Gemini, I usually call a lunation in Gemini, the affirmation moon, because one great way to use this full moon in energy in Gemini would be to absolutely energize your core beliefs. Say the words that you want to have manifesting in your life. If you look on screen, the other aspect I have here is a square between Mercury and Sagittarius to Neptune, and that is an exact square. Now, on one level, that's a beautiful aspect for using spirituality, intuition, grace, and creativity with your words, with what you want to communicate. That's a great aspect for using the spiritual dimension of the self-fulfilling prophecy, which says, be mindful what you tell yourself because you get to be right. And the whole principle of divine law, which says what you focus on, you bring into your life at a certain level. You know, you form the basis of your reality with your words and your thoughts and your beliefs. So this full moon in Gemini, if you use it personally, can be a deeper level commitment, which is Saturn, to your core foundational beliefs and actively engaging in those powerfully, assertively, which is Mars. That's the best use of this full moon. And maybe there'll be some negotiations if it's used on a high level. Mercury square Neptune can be the reminder that you are connected to the universe, you are loved, you are supported, that the divine energy can flow through you. And by the way, that's going to open up really profound levels of your own intuitive energies. So, you know, you might be feeling very visionary during the full moon in Gemini. You might be having very strong dreams. Relax into this one, because after all that intensity in Scorpio, the full moon in Gemini could lighten the energy a bit. Depends on what's happening in the world. So to further illustrate core beliefs for the full moon in Gemini, my final thoughts would be one of the beliefs that I like to energize as one of my foundations is that I am always in the right place at the right time. This is one of my core principles. I will say frequently, I will say it in conversation if I need to. I certainly say it to myself. I am always in the right place at the right time. You can add to that, I am safe. You can add to that, things always work out for me easily. You can add to that, the universe works in my favor. You know, play around with it, but decide what are your core foundational beliefs. You don't have to wait till the full moon in Gemini to activate them, obviously. So November, we have a challenge in front of us. I want to just remind you, think about your indomitable spirit within, connect with it, believe in yourself, and pull into the passion of Scorpio early in the month with Mars in Scorpio to point your energy to the capacity you have to find techniques that will put you in control of your thoughts and your mindset and your attitudes, rather than being victimized by circumstances which dictate how you feel. As always, I am sending you blessings and much love. And as always, my core belief pattern is also that I believe in humanity. I believe in our capacity to evolve. I believe in our ability to deal with challenge. And this is a challenging time. So my sweatshirt says good vibes. I'm sending good vibes to you and much love. Bye for now.